Hi, this is Kurt with Friendly DevOps. Today I'm going to be sharing with you something very special to me, something that I've been dreaming of accomplishing since I discovered Linux and free and open source software. That dream is to contribute to an open source project, and the fact that my first contribution is something that will impact literally millions of people is more than I ever dreamed of. When I purchased my new laptop, the X915, I got it to replace my previous laptop, a T14 Gen 4 with the AMD 7840. Of the many things that I do on my laptop, one of them is editing and rendering the videos that I have for this channel. I use Kdenlive as my video editor, and since I use Fedora, the best version of Kdenlive to use is a FlatHub release. When I went to render my first video on my new laptop, it became apparent that the video acceleration was not active. After several hours of troubleshooting, I discovered the reason was that the VA API extension was not being installed along with Kdenlive. So the way that Flatpaks works is similar to Docker containers. Each application is deployed on several layers of images. The first image is a base layer, and each subsequent layer is an install of relevant packages, with the final layer being the application. On my new laptop, the layer containing the VA API extension failed to install. The ultimate reason for this was Intel Xe graphics. Up until this point, all Intel integrated graphics were Intel HD graphics, which was controlled by the i915 module in the Linux kernel. However, my new laptop contained one of the newest Intel chips in the Lunar Lake family, which uses Xe graphics, which are controlled by a completely different module, one that Flatpak did not check for at the time. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, after spending all day first trying to bypass the issue, and after failing that, combing through the Flatpak repository to find the root of the issue, I wrote up a detailed account on the Flatpak repository issue tracker, and like all good contributors, I made sure to look up if there was already a thread discussing the issue and posted my inputs there. In my post, I pointed to where the code check that determined the presence of Intel HD graphics was, and stated that an additional check for Xe graphics needed to be added. Sound in my belief that my input was significant, I went to sleep, or at least attempted to. After an hour of tossing and turning, I opened up my laptop and decided to attempt to update the code on my own. I was neither in the right mental acuity or temperament to have come up with a successful solution, but after I forked the project and hastily wrote up the best code my mind could come up with at that moment, I created a PR and drifted off to bed. The next morning when I woke, I checked the PR to find a message stating, "I don't think your code will work," and the respondent providing a proper solution. The post was tail-ended by the remark, "Was this even tested?" The answer clearly, no, it wasn't. But after merging the solution into my code, I set about rectifying my early error by testing the code I was given. This was not a simple task when running on Fedora Silverblue. On a normal distribution, I would simply build the Flatpak binary from source, but on an Atomic distro, it would have been a pain installing all the needed dependencies before even starting. Thankfully, the Fedora developers already foresaw this and included a simple container system called Toolbox. With it, I was able to create the necessary build environment quickly and without issue. I then exited the Toolbox instance, and using the newly compiled binary, I installed Kdenlive from the FlatHub repository. The Xe module was detected by the new binary, and the VA API extension was properly layered onto the Kdenlive image. I created a video demonstrating the positive outcome of my test and posted it to the PR. I would like to say that at this point the PR was accepted and merged onto the Flatpak project, but due to my inexperience in contributing, I made some errors in the PR. It took a couple days to resolve, and I am very thankful for the patience of the maintainers in dealing with me. Even though ultimately it wasn't my code that made it into the Flatpak project, it was my effort that helped to get it resolved, and for that I was granted the honor of having my handle Friendly DevOps immortalized as a contributor to Flatpak. This update has been included in the 1.17.0 release, which as of the time of this recording is currently in pre-release. This will enable GPU acceleration on Flatpak applications running on systems with Intel Arc graphics and the new Intel APUs such as Arrow Lake and Lunar Lake. While this is my first dip into contributing into open source, it definitely won't be my last. If any of you have any stories to share about your open source contributions, I would love to read about them in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Until the next time, take care.